Welcome to the Daily Dubb. It's R&R, Rob and Ruben here. Ruben's on the road, Rob's in the studio. We're going to open up today's show with a little bit of inspiration.
Today was a really important day for me because really nice reminder of, I think, the most important thing that we all need to learn in leadership. When I say leadership, I don't just mean sales leadership. I mean any type of leadership. I mean in business, I mean your personal life, in extracurricular activities, I mean playing basketball at the park with your friend. Most important thing, I think, in leadership is listening. Because if we don't listen, how can we lead? How can we help people? Listening is where everything starts. Listening is how we solve people's problems. And as leaders, I think the most important thing that we're doing is solving people's problems. So no solving, no leadership.
Think about it this way in relation to you driving right now. Unless you know where you're going, you got to listen to Siri and then, hey, where are we going? Next left, next right. So if you're not listening, you're not going to get to where you're going.
I interviewed a guy named David Smales today.
I'm the director of leadership development, about 150 leaders. So this is something I do. I go to bed thinking about this stuff. I wake up thinking about this. So for me, it's always on my mind.
He's the director of leadership at a company, but he's also getting his doctorate in leadership, which I didn't even know was a thing. What's really interesting about what he shared is this idea that listening is the one characteristic that you will find in all leaders.
If you look at academic journals and say, what are the top characteristics of top performers in sales? You'll see that listening typically is at the top. In fact, it's almost every single time at the top. And the same applies to leadership.
It's the one thing that's in common. Some are extroverts, some are introverts, some are overachievers, some help others achieve. The one constant is listening.
I'm actually seeing you for who you are, and now I'm driving performance, and you feel better about the idea that you and I have a partnership as opposed to here's the standard, here's where you are, let's close the gap.
I think that listening is the core element of helping people because it goes back to that thing where if we don't listen, how can we help?
If you're having a business conversation, instead of problem, everyone likes to use the word challenge, which is a positive way of saying, okay, we have a sticking point. And if you're not listening to what that sticking point is, and you're just driving through your pre-made script in your mind and your goal of closing the sale, they're basically telling you what door they want you to open. And if you're trying to open door number A and all they're doing is talking about door number C, not listening is immediately noticed. Immediately. And as soon as they notice that sale is done. And with humanity, in terms of talking with someone, if someone notices that you're just waiting to speak and you're really not listening, well, then they'll kind of politely check themselves out of the conversation.
Explain this paradox. People get into sales because they're good at talking or they love to talk, or both. But being good at sales is all about listening. How do we overcome that paradox?
If you're trying to really snowball someone and you like to hear your own voice, people will immediately notice that you're talking way too much. The person on the other end will be like, well, this person just keeps talking and talking and talking and talking. It's a lot of words, but what are they really saying? You know what they're saying? That they really don't care what I have to say. When you use the power of the pause, hey, Ruben, listen, did you get a chance to check out the package I sent you? And then you just wait. And they're going to calmly tell you, yes, I did. No, I didn't. Let them continue speaking until you feel there's a good pause after they've finished. Don't jump on someone's last word like you're stepping on someone's line in an acting scene, because they'll know, no, you're just waiting for me to stop speaking. Whereas if you pause after, they realize you're taking in what you're saying. If you get into sales and you love to talk, just remember, so does your client. Sales at the end of the day is being able to explain something, almost like you're a stand-up comedian without the comedy.
My first time doing stand-up forever in my life.
The fact that you've got to take someone from the beginning to the end, and you've got to make the trip worthwhile. So if you take someone in the car with you and you're showing them all the highlights when you're going, they're enjoying the trip. But if it's just a time machine and boom, they're already there and they didn't know anything along the way, then they're not going to know what you're even doing. So you got to take them with you.
There's someone that's really good with being intentional at their pauses. One of the most famous classical composers, Beethoven. If you listen to Beethoven's symphonies, he's really intentional with his pauses. The reason why people call that genius is because it opens up our minds for creativity and to fill in the notes. Silence is where opportunity is. That's where trust gets built. That's where creativity gets triggered. And ultimately, that's where relationships get born, because the last thing that we want to do is to be in a conversation with someone where all they're doing is talking.
When you went the Beethoven route, I thought you were going to talk about the dog. Woof, 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 woof. Woof, 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 woof. Woof, 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 woof. So anyway, yeah, the composer, he's good too. Thanks for joining us today with the Daily Dubb. And if you love the content that you're seeing with us, subscribe, hit the notification button.